This is real footage from my AllSky camera, and I 3D printed this enclosure myself. In this video, I will show you how to design your own enclosure right in your web browser and save the STL files for your 3D printer. To get started, you will open a web browser and go to skyforge.ouachitaobservatory.com. Inside the interface, you will see an empty canvas where you will begin modeling your enclosure. First, we will cover a few navigation components and then jump into the design of your enclosure. So let's generate a head cap so you can see how the views can change. The default view is an isometric view. To move the object around to pan, you'll just left click, move up, down. It's free view. If you want to zoom in, you can use your mouse wheel and scroll forward and backwards. And if you want to pan left or right or up or down, just right click your mouse button and move in the direction that you desire. You also have a row of buttons across the top. This is the isometric view. You have a front view, a top view, and a side view. The wireframe view is helpful if you need to see through the object, matching threads or anything like that. And you also can change your default color themes. Now, you have two tube systems to choose from. You have a standard and a tall. We'll go ahead and generate a standard tube. So we'll say we're on a standard. We'll choose the head tube. Generate STL. So the standard tube gives you some space for different components. You'll see across the top you have these vent holes. Along the bottom you have vents around the bottom. This hole in the middle is where your power, you would use a cable gland to pass the wires to the bottom, and this outside ring is designed for a 2-inch pole mount. You notice the threads at the top. This is where your head cap would thread onto. Now this system is not designed for a lot of components, and I'll show you what a cradle looks like that would go into this system. This system is primarily designed for somebody that may just want to run a camera and have their computer or other components, other sensors running inside a different weatherproof box, maybe inside their home or nearby enclosure. So as you can see on this, whenever you design your cradle, will drop in from the top, threads down into this thread ring on the bottom, and we'll go ahead and generate a cradle so you can see what that looks like. But first I want to go ahead and add this to my model. So we've got our head tube designed here. We're going to choose add to model. Notice it shows up here. Now let's go ahead and add our cradle. So you have different choices when it comes to your cradle. You have multiple different types of cameras that's supported. You have the ASI 533 MC Pro, the ASI, these are like the puck cameras, the planetary cameras from ZWO. You have Player One, and you have the Raspberry Pi HQ cam. So let's go ahead and drop an ASI 676 into this. We'll choose that option. We'll choose Generate STL. And one thing I've failed to do on here, you can actually put a lens on here. So if you know the height of your lens from the seat mount, you can actually add that on here. So generally, most of them I've seen are between 25 and 30 millimeters. So let's just say a 28 millimeter lens would come up off that camera. So we'll generate that again. So now you have a lens cap that's popping up. And this is helpful whenever you drop the cradle into your enclosure, whenever you're looking at the full model. So you can see kind of where it sits in relation to the dome, how close it is to the top of the dome, or peeking up over the ridge of the head cap. So that looks good to us. There's other parameters that you can do also. You can raise or lower the camera. This would cause this middle part to raise up or down. But we'll go ahead and just add this to our model. So now we have a head tube and a cradle. Next we want to go ahead and add our head cap. So let's go ahead and generate that. This basically gives you your dome parameters. You can change the dome parameters on here. You can make the dome seat larger or smaller, but we're just going to leave it as a default. We'll say add that to our model. And then finally we will add our dew ring tray. So we'll choose that. So this is our dew ring tray. This is designed for a 3 or 4-inch dew ring, or a DIY. If you're using resistors, you can put a resistor ring on this. So we'll go ahead and add this to our model. And now finally we can choose the option to model it. And this basically gives you the entire designs, everything that you have. And you can say, yes, it looks exactly like I want. If you're curious about the size of it, say you wanted the entire enclosure to be a little bit smaller, you can pop a soda can on there. Gives you the can for scale. And then if everything looks like you want, then you can choose to save the STLs, and it will take different screenshots, and it will take a copy of all the parameters that you set in case you did any custom adjustments. Okay, and it'll prompt you where do you want to save it at. So we'll just save it to our folder. So save, pop that open, and you can see here's your specs. This will be all the individual information, and this is all your parameters. So if you had adjusted anything, it would show up in this view. Now, this being the standard build, there's not a lot of room for sensors and other things like that. So to go with a little bit larger model that gives you more space, you can go with a tall model. So with that, I'll go ahead and generate the enclosure for that. So we will say with the tube tall, generate the STL. So you see the tall model of the tube is much larger. You have a lot more space, and you also notice it's open on this end. This is because the cradle on this model is designed to have more components, so it will slide up through the bottom. You'll still put a dome cap on the top. You'll have an opening on the bottom where it slides in through the bottom. So we'll go ahead and add that to our model. First, we'll clear all these, get rid of those, because you can't combine different models. You can't combine tall components with standard components. It'll give you an error message. So we'll go ahead and add that to our model. And now we will look at our cradle for the tall model. Generate the STL. So this is a very tall cradle. If you'll notice on the back here, you have these little pilot holes. These are spec'd for a Raspberry Pi. So these holes line up exactly where your Raspberry Pi mounting holes would be. On the side, you'll have pass-throughs for your power and HDMI ports if you're needing to troubleshoot anything, but the power could slip right to the side. You could connect different components to these walls, either on the outside or possibly on the inside. There's for a 60mm fan down here in the bottom. And of course you would use some type of screen type material to cover the vents because you would need to keep insects and things like that from getting into it. But you can put your 60mm fan here, have it pull air through the top, and I'll show you what the enclosure again looks like in a second. It's kind of the top bottom view. You'll notice this little port. This is a M12 cable gland port. It's pre-threaded. So all you'll need to do is just have a M12 cable gland that you can thread up into that, and that will help seal off the power coming into this to power your different components. And at part 5, I actually have a build video that you can see how I'm building a system very similar to this and how I'm installing my components if that's something you're interested in too. So let's go ahead and add that to our model. And then again, we'll add our head cap, generate the STL, and that looks good. We'll add that to our model. And let's go ahead and do our do ring tray. Generate that. All right, looks good. Add that to our model, and we'll choose to model that. So now you can see how this is a little bit wider. You see how looking from the sides where you could have components on either side of the planes, possibly on the inside if you had multiple components you wanted to have running. And there's a small plane that you can install stuff on the front. And again, all you would need to do to export that as an STL to your system so that you could print it on your 3D printer would just be choose the Save STL options. Now, one thing I do want to cover on here a little bit more detail. I wanted to get past all the stuff that you may be interested in the beginning, but I want to talk about how you can customize different components. So let's go ahead and clear these out. Now let's say if you have a specific type of dome is not the default size. So if we go to our head cap, generate the STL, there's different things that you can adjust on here to make sure that the dome fits. So what you're looking for is down here, this dome hole radius. This is the hole inside here. This is 49mm. Now the seat is 55. So dome hole from this to this, and then the seat is that all the way to that. Now let's say your dome was a little bit smaller. So let's say you had a 25mm dome. So let's just adjust that to 25mm. Let's take a look and see what that looks like. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to have a seat where your dome could actually sit on. So right now we still have a relatively large dome spanning across here, but the dome hole reduced down to 25. Let's say your actual dome seat, the actual lip of your dome that sits on the tray, let's say it was 30. So we will change that to 30. And then you'll notice at the top, if you put it too small, it'll give you a warning. So if we hit 3, it says it's got to be within 1.5 millimeters of the actual dome radius. So we're going to do 30 on here. So we hit generate STL. And now you look at it and you see your dome seat. You have at least a 2.5 millimeters on each side, a total of 30 millimeters across. Your dome hole is 25. So this really should accommodate just about any acrylic dome that you can find, or even glass domes that would be able to sit inside that. Some other things that you may want to look at doing is maybe you want to not have as tall of a cradle. So let's bring up our cradle again. We'll generate that STL. Let's say this is not anywhere near the height that you want. Let's say you want it a little bit shorter. You can reduce that. So basically what you have on here is you have your things that you can adjust to. You have your tube length, you have your camera, how to raise and lower the camera. You've already seen that, your lens. This tube length is the thing that you're going to want to adjust on this to reduce it. So by default, just start it at 0, which is the default cradle height. If you want to reduce the height, just change it to the height, how much smaller you want to make it. So we want to make this 30 millimeters shorter. We'll say generate that STL, and you'll notice that the cradle will shorten in height. Okay, so that's a little bit shorter. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you shorten this cradle, you also need to shorten your tube. So whenever you're adjusting this, if we go ahead and we'll just add this to our model. Now you'll notice when we jump over to our tube, you'll notice this also got reduced to -30. So it's keeping that in mind, because we don't want to have a situation where our tube stacks on here, but the top of the tube is way up here. So basically it automatically reduces the tube by 30. So when you generate that, notice the tube is much shorter. So let's go ahead and add that to our model. And let's just say model it with these two components. So you can see that this is much shorter than what it was before. Prior to this, this was practically 2.5 cans high. Still kind of tall, but you can reduce it even more. Just want to try to make sure that you leave yourself enough space for any other components that you want to have. And I will say one more thing, since this is hosted, the performance is kind of throttled because I have to make sure that I don't get a huge web hosting bill at the end of the month. I put a throttle on the servers on how fast they can run and how many instances they can spawn. Now, in the next video, I will show you how you can run this all locally. So you can download the Python files, the scripts, you can modify them, make any changes that you want, extend them, whatever you want to do with them. And depending on the speed of your computer, it'll probably run a lot faster than the performance that you've been seeing on here. And this is by design. I have to keep the performance on the web servers to a relatively lower level because I don't want a very high hosting bill at the end of the month. I'm using Google Cloud services, and sometimes their processes can get pricey if I let this unrestricted. So I think I've covered quite a few items on here. A lot of the other stuff is pretty self-explanatory. If you do have a question, feel free to either leave a comment on the YouTube comments, or you can contact me through my website, washitaobservatory.com. There's a contact us section on there that you can put details in if you don't want to leave it in a public forum. And that's part 1. You've designed your own weatherproof AllSky enclosure and downloaded the print files. No CAD required. Want to run the design tool on your own computer instead of my hosted version? Part 2 is already up. I'll show you how to install and run SkyForge locally in Python, offline, and make it fully yours. It's linked right here, so click straight into it. The whole series is live if you'd rather build the entire thing in one sitting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.